Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case discussion, taking a look at a forum for key information to see if we can track back over any unanswered questions, bits of misinformation, or maybe interesting points which have not been mentioned before or brought back up, and we'll bring it to light in this video, okay? Now, it's not an ultra serious thing because I do understand that whilst looking back retrospectively, what about looking forwards? Well, it is one of those things at the moment where we're kind of at a cliffhanger. There are some videos I can do. I definitely need to do the map one, and I need to do a possible theory one on Brenner and all the other people trying to incriminate him. I mean, was it Awesome Destroyer? Was it Space Trash? Or was it Tom something with the pink profile? It was one of those accounts or someone similar that said about doing it. So yeah, I will get into that. But because of Thanksgiving today, I don't know about the time zone difference, oh no. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving. I've got some very bad news though. Linda, it's okay. It'll be fine. Yeah, bad news is I'm not the main course, so sorry, but put that aside. I don't expect everyone to watch tonight live in the live video premiere format. That's fully understandable. People can feel free to watch this video whenever they have time. That's why I've not been going in as hard the last day or two because of this event going on. You know, if there is something ultra important, breaking news, full on, I'm going to upload a video regardless, you know what I'm saying? But if it's not quite at that level, you know, we just push back the odd video a day or so then everyone can come back together and then listen in and share their thoughts and opinions, right? So no one's really missing out. Does that make sense? Kind of like a few days beforehand with the Kenny v Cave one. That was out of nowhere there because it was quite important and it needs to be covered regardless. So boom, went in there like that. So yes, today we are looking at Dylan Rounds. Will we look at anything else? Well, first thing, what we need to do is, I just want to share this, like, oh my god, people are like, don't worry, it'll be fine, war like Rev, you know, some people are just so toxic. What's this all about anyway? Well, I'll share with you a comment and then I need to do a quick add-on, okay?
Oh my god, sorry, so sorry for the jump scare then, but this was just a little example. I'm gonna do that. There you go. And then, oh my god, look at this person. They were like, gross, laughing my butt off. Oh my god. This is the type of person to walk around and say, ew. Ew. But you know what, man? Kentucky Bluebirds, you're goddamn right, it's gross. You ain't seen nothing yet. I gotta tell you something right now, man. And I gotta tell everyone right here, right now. You thought that was bad? You thought seeing those fucking nipples were bad? Fucking zoom on in now, boy. Stop trying to resist. You thought that was disgusting? Don't worry, it gets even worse, man. Look at this. You combine Little Caesar's pizza, you combine Burger King's, and that soggy dough bread and garlic bread. You get this, man. What the fuck is going on here? And what's all this white stuff? I'm really confused right now, man. Don't worry, it's just soap. I had to do it to confuse the mind, man. It was an on-the-spot decision, but you look at that. It's more patchy, it's more rough, it's more rugged than the Lucin Desert. There's more bumps and craters than there is in the fucking Jomay Canyon section of Nevada. Oh my god, this is horrible, man. I cannot believe it. Look at that. What the fuck is that? It looks more like hay and sawdust combined together, mixed with milk. God. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry for ruining your life, your mind. You're not going to be able to sleep tomorrow, are you? You're going to close your eyes and you're going to be seeing fucking nipples pressed against your eyes. Oh my god, I am sorry, man. It had to be done. Order 66.
So with that aside, yes, that Kentucky individual, I think you need a bit of a whip. A bit of whipping back into line. I think that's necessary. Oh, don't worry, Brian. You'll come after that. You know, we need to get this individual out of the way, okay? This is what happens to a bit of naughty behaviour. It leads to naughty reactions, but that's not my fault. Every time people moan and think, oh, Raph, do you have to do that? I'm sorry. I really am. It's all these knobheads. They need to be put back into line. Oh, yes. That was perfect. It's deafened me. Okay. I'm going to even double bind it just so it's extra tough. Forget about the BTK killer. It's the WLW whipper. Okay. You ready, Kentucky? You're not going to be ready. Come on, boy. 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 Is that you? Oh, look at you scuttling off. Oh, never mind. Anyway, it's Brian's turn this time. Who's Brian? Well, I don't know if I've come across him before, but I remember in the last video I did, Brian was suggesting whip me next with the buckle. Wow, the buckle. Where's the buckle on here? Right there, metallic and shiny. What's this tag on? Well, it's impossible to get off and it adds as an extra, form of resistance. So this buckle is going to be whipped on Brian. So, oh my God, you got to give a shout out to Brian, my man, taking like a man. Ain't nobody has faced the wrath of this belt buckle. So when we talk about competitions of people taking it in all different directions and methods, Brian is the go-to one at this moment in time. Is anyone else going to step up? Is anyone going to re-enter the dungeon of wrath and take a different form? Well, be my guest, okay? Are you ready, Brian? This could hurt a little bit. 1, 2. Ooh. Yeah, you see, not as much of a slap sound, more of a thump, a thud. That's to be expected when something hard hits something harder. Yeah. 1. Make sure it's in place. 1, 2. Come on, Brian. Brian. Stop moving. 1, 2. Yeah. Do one from the other side. 1, 2. Ooh. Yeah. See, it's one of those things where just because it doesn't make much sound, doesn't mean to say that it's completely ineffective. No, it's left its mark, branded, okay? Maybe next time at some point, create a warlike wrath belt whip, customized. Wow, just imagine that. That would be amazing. Now, with that out the way and order reinstated, who knows who may show up tonight? Preferably people that are not celebrating Thanksgiving. What else can I say? Football being on recently. Maria, what's Argentina doing? Losing their game. It's a disgrace. Maria, sort it out. Maybe you can come on to the picture next time, Maria. What am I doing in Italian? Because I can't do a Spanish accent. Lo siento, señorita Maria. Okay? So, put that aside. Switzerland as well. Christy, Switzerland. They won. Woo. Okay? Not too bad, I guess. Now, that aside, let's head back on over to that Dylan Rounds forum. Okay? Okay, here we are, back on this forum. What I shall say is as we read through the third page, because last time we looked at number 2, now we're looking at the third page. If for whatever reason it's a little bit dry, what we'll do is we'll finish off on the third page and then possibly head on over to Find Dylan Round's Facebook page to have a brief look at that, just to see if there's any external stuff going on there, okay? Understandably, it's one of those things where you can't expect info to come out left, right and centre every single day. Maybe it was more the case back at the start as everything was all unfolding, as there was a lot of suspicion, speculation and all that. Though with time, some things have been ironed out, other stuff has been kind of
unstable. You remember? Anyway, let's see what's said here. Person says, guess who? And if it's the closest town, we all know these people flow over to nearby areas and are basically still neighbours, even that far away, because there are no closer neighbours to be had. And if had happened to say too much to the wrong people or flashing cash, that crime rate says a lot. Oh yeah, that was referring to that dodgy crime statistics, which is a bit very inaccurate. But yeah, it's a fair point. Like, you got Lucin, just an abandoned place, ghost town. You got Montello, a small town. You got Elko, a smallish town. You got Park Valley, smallish. Really, the more established place where it's busy is Salt Lake City. You got Ogden, Clinton, places within there. That's where it's more urban, if you call it. But Lucin, Montello, Elko, moving over that way, yeah, it does become quieter and people will connect with one another, little communities, news going about, even Wendover or West Wendover, you got the likes of Ty going down there at some points. Then you got the likes of, even though it was more to do with the case, Justin Rounds coming all the way into Montello and then helping the food bank and then discussing things and listening in and conversations. So information will get about, especially in the smaller places, which makes sense. Carry on. And look, there's a little bear. Squishy bear. Whoa. Oh, it's this person, is it? Grandma Bear, the one that was obsessed about alcohol last time. They wouldn't stop talking about it. They replied saying, I see. I would think LE could confirm that by now, the Friday part. Even so, apparently he was on the farm after that and /or his phone, but certainly couldn't have brought someone home or attracted someone who showed up there after he got home Friday or early Saturday, and especially if he had just been to the bank recently or known to have cash on him. I mean, has it been talked about that much? About the idea that Dylan may have brought somebody home to his farm? I mean, you probably can write it off immediately. 9 times out of 10 at least. Or if not, before Dylan disappeared, no one ever visited Dylan's farm. No one, like a friend. But then again, did Kurt Wadsworth? If Kurt Wadsworth's a friend of Dylan, and Kurt would have visited the farm, he did afterwards, post Dylan's disappearance. He must have done before, like with the vehicles being parked around. So, I mean, we might as well just briefly discuss this right now. Candice Cooley. It was Candice that said it. Candice said Dylan would never have anyone visiting him. He would always have to visit everyone else, like friends, going to Montello, going to the bar. Do you think that's true? Because whilst Candice Cooley comes out with these different statements, really the only person that could confirm it would be Dylan. Whether that happened, this happened, but obviously that's not the case because of him being the one impacted, going missing. So really, we're just hearing it from Candice Cooley and what she thinks, possibly. Candice Cooley is saying, Lucin's an okay area, it's fine. Well, it can't be if people have been found missing there, or dead, injured, been shootouts nearby, or even bordering into Montello where there's crime going on. And even like the likes of Avalos, who was arrested at one point, driving through Lucin, going to Box Elder County or something. So, I can understand other people why they would say, oh, you can't listen to everything Candice Cooley says. Well, on this occasion, okay, then let's put that into play and suggest that when Candice Cooley says no one visits Dylan at his farm and that Dylan has to go to everyone else, that's incorrect and that people have gone back to his place. Would you agree with that or not? I'll do a quick poll. Do you think Dylan brought anyone back Friday night? Or just in general, even before Dylan went missing, did anyone ever get brought back to Dylan's farm? I mean, out of everyone, who would be most likely to want to go there? Right, there's not much out there, is there? So people aren't going to be entertained that much. If it's Kurt going to the farm, being brought there, well, that's probably maybe some kind of farming, equipment-related stuff. Briefly hanging out with some bears in the trailer, like how they would do in Montello. that type of stuff. If it was Chase Venstra, not associating him completely with Dylan's disappearance, but just saying that he went back, it makes sense that as well, just to thank Dylan, I guess, because Dylan was the one to, I guess you call it, rescue Chase Venstra in the desert. If Dylan wasn't there, what do you think would have happened to Chase Venstra? Let's just do another brief discussion, another question. If Dylan never picked up Chase Venstra, would Chase Venstra have gone missing instead of Dylan? Makes you think, doesn't it? And this is what I still don't quite understand, and I don't think it's really been answered or talked about much. If someone like Chase Venstra is running away from someone or something, or escaped something, then why return back to town where those type of people are probably from? Seems a bit weird. Now, Chase Venstra, the way it's been worded by Candice Cooley is Chase doesn't live there. He hops about, moves around. So I guess maybe he just went back to the place to get some items or something, right? Who knows? But yeah, it is interesting. I mean, if Dylan did bring anyone back with him Friday night, I don't think it would have worked anyway. I don't think that could have happened, because if there were witnesses out there that saw Dylan, doing his farming immediately when he got back and it was dark, if you was to bring somebody home with you and then you started going out in the field and doing farming, I don't think the guest would appreciate that. It would be kind of rude. And if Dylan's got actual farm work to get on with, he'll put that before a person to an extent, right? So that will dispel the concept of Dylan bringing somebody home with him. I mean, the only other way would be checking the DNA, right? And I know recently it's been talked about on Doug's channel, the last Candice Cooley interview, is that even if there was prints found inside by all different people like Brenner, Don, etc., there's no proof of dating back exactly when those prints appeared. It might have been way back in the past when Dylan asked one of the other guys to move Dylan's truck or to assist in some way with some farm work. So we don't really incriminate the person. Though what you could do is a process of elimination, okay? Everyone who's no longer a suspect or has been cleared or has an alibi, those prints are put aside, and then you look at every other remaining print of the vehicle or a piece of equipment or evidence and say, what about that print there? Who's that individual? We've never heard his name before. I wonder where he comes into it all. Has that been done? I don't know, it just makes me think, like, if there are prints on certain stuff, right? I know the gun key fob was cleaned down by someone, right? But the way I see it is, if there are any other prints, isn't it worth just noting down all the people, regardless of the timing, just to see if there's any new leads and new people to take a look at? I think there's no harm there. What does this say? I agree, it seems the most likely. Good kid, responsible kid or not, he would look like a young, naive, sitting duck to a criminal type, meth head, stranger or drifter, or even a newly hired farm hand. The other possibility is, I do wonder about the friend of his grandpa's he fired. That's talking about Don Hately. But look, this is the thing. Whilst we can say Dylan it could be naive, or you could say Dylan looks vulnerable because he's there by himself, he's still young, people could overpower him, people could ambush him, he's got no help, he's got no backup resources. But this is the thing. What you got to understand is, if Dylan has been on that farm for like 3 seasons, I think it is, the previous seasons, he was okay. He didn't get hurt. He didn't get attacked. Not from what we know of. He's not got into any fights. Not from what we know of. He's never been threatened before in the past. Not from what we know of. So for it to just suddenly happen now, there's a deeper reason, right? I know we talked about the snap of a certain someone, such as Brenner, and that would make more sense still, because you could have done it any time, right? Was it planned? Probably not. On the spot. But if Dylan was really vulnerable, then he would have been exploited from day one, right? I'm sure that's the case. Though I've not looked at it. I know people have been talking like salty pancakes, bringing up the question once again, possibility Dylan being groomed. Now, I've not watched that video. If any of you have, you can feel free to share your thoughts down below. I might have a look at some point and then maybe note some stuff down. It just depends how long the video is, you know what I'm saying? But I guess there's no harm. As for the people on this panel, I think Brookie was there when I looked at a thumbnail or something. Was Kurt Wadsworth there? I mean, I don't know. Like, if Kurt was there, wouldn't that be kind of awkward? Because if you're talking about grooming and Dylan being groomed, then, who did it? And I know some people have pointed it towards Kurt Wadsworth. Now, one thing I will say, and it seems to be like a catalyst, and I think we need to bring it up right now. Let me just show my face for a second. So what I feel and sense now when I think back, when it comes to cases, mysteries, there seems to be a ticking point, a breaking point, that moment where suddenly you start receiving reactions from people, and it does make you think, is it because you've suddenly revealed the truth people don't want to hear? Whether it be because they're scared of it, they're in denial, or they're a part of it and they're trying to cover it up and force you away. Could be the case. It happened with Kenny Veach at a certain point in time. I said one thing, I covered something, and then whoa, resistance. Now, when did the resistance show up in mine? Well, I've got to say, when it came to that Heavy D video, well, it was Lance's video with the Heavy D crew, Bald Eagle Mountain, inside of a mine shaft, and then Heavy D, Sparks, Dave has a brief conversation with Lance talking about, Dylan, was he groomed? Kurt Wadsworth, what about him? And Lance started agreeing on, saying, yeah, Kurt is a bit of a groomer within the place, and yeah, he probably did that to Dylan. Now, I'm saying that, reiterating that, because that seems to be the key turning point in terms of random individuals. I don't know exactly who they are. The likes of Tucker and then some other accounts and some other accounts. I think that's where it all kicked off. The whole simple coverage of relaying a bit of footage of Lance agreeing that Kurt Wadsworth appears to be a groomer, Dylan possibly could have been involved and affected negatively. Saying that triggered a negative form of resistance from certain people within the case. I saw it firsthand, obviously. Now, do any of you agree? Do any of you think, there's some kind of truth within that stuff said by Lance? I don't know. It makes you think. I mean, because Lance is from the area, you'd probably believe him more, right? Because if he's living there, he might know more and see more of what's going on and hear. Whereas if you're just from a different country or a different state, it's like, well, how would you know? You're not there to experience it. There's been resistance, obviously, with Lance when it came to the Sun interview recently because of how he worded stuff and what was talked about. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's some people saying didn't approve of Lance doing the interview or something. One of those things, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, I don't really have anything negative towards Lance, just simply down to the fact that he's not caused me any trouble. So why should I cause him trouble? Makes no sense, you know what I'm saying? I'm just simply reiterating points, relaying, things that have happened, and that's it. And then people can share their own thoughts, opinions, and reactions, just like in the live chat right now.
Feel free to share your thoughts and ideas as we go along within this. But yeah, I definitely say that was the key turning point within the Dylan Brown's case for at least my reality when it came to saying this, covering that, and then suddenly, whoa, wave of resistance. The very first bit of resistance was just simply at the start of the case where you cover it and people are like, oh, you're doing it wrong or you're not saying the right stuff. I wouldn't say that's too suspicious. That's just simply people wanting you to be perfect and not make any errors. But when you actually start looking into a theory, concept, an idea, maybe a piece of evidence, some material, and then people like snap at you, then you must be touching upon something, because when it comes to other areas, other fields, and you mentioned some misinformation, you highlighted an incorrect point. Most often, the other individual will say, oh, no, you got that wrong. It was actually this, what happened. Oh, you got the date slightly mixed up with the other event, okay? That's a simple correction. But then, if, as an example, in my case, when I mentioned a theory, which may have been true or not, people reply back saying, oh my God, how could you do this, man? Oh no, you're ruining it. You gotta delete the video now. That's an order, Raf. You're gonna delete the video now, Raf, because it's not good. You're gonna listen to what I say. And it's like, you could have just said that that information is incorrect and provided an update or something, correcting it. But no, they were saying, you gotta turn that video off. You gotta delete it from YouTube right now. And then you get the wave of fake accounts as well. So with that level of resistance, just because a point was mentioned, it does make you think maybe there's truth within that. Leave your thoughts down below. And let me know if you've experienced any resistance when it's come to mentioning a certain point idea. And what was that point and idea that led to that resistance? Is it anything similar to what I've talked about? Or is it another angle? Or is it at least similar in terms of talking about a certain suspect within the case? There's no harm in questioning. Anyway, let's return back to that forum and continue reading. There we go. Let's move on. This person replies back saying, yeah, and to fire somebody in a place like that should have been drastic, because on the other hand, where do you find a replacement worker there when there are no people, let alone worker type? It's kind of a fair point in a way, but it didn't seem like too many people were working for Dylan. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think what we've got to understand is with Dylan still developing his farm, right? You'll only need so many workers, farmers, right? Helping and assisting. But with time, if Dylan was still around, his crop developing, maybe more pivots being created, buying more land, taking over the grain shed, yeah, maybe at that stage he would have needed more people because of expanding, but it might have populated the area, and in the long term, it could have led to an increasement in population or temporary population increase. You know what I'm saying? And from the looks of it, he was still working on his farm, hence why he was doing custom farm work in between to make money, you know. If he can't make much money, if not any, on his own farm because crops are still developing or he's still trying to expand, you know, he's got to, afford the cost of like equipment, the seeds, maybe water, gas, fuel, electric, anything and everything, all that type of stuff. That's important and necessary. To be able to afford it, you got to do custom farming, and you got a reasonable amount for doing what you did, right? So, yeah. Now, the only question I want to put forwards right now, although there's not been any transactions within Dylan's account, what happens to his money, in his bank? He's gone missing, okay? What happens to his money? And let's say if he's found, but his remains. What happens to that money in his account? Does it get taken out and put into the family's account? Does it get shared or split between family members? I mean, it might sound bad, but it's like, at the same time, you don't want that money to go to waste because it would be a shame unless the money is donated to a charity, maybe. What are your thoughts on that? Because, it's just sitting there. Dylan can't get a hold of it. No one else has bothered
to take it out like a criminal or a suspect, as described. With Dylan's card still missing, does make you think, right? Yes, there is a possibility that Dylan's card might be on Dylan, in his pocket. So no one's ever going to come across it until they find Dylan. But just imagine if the suspect is still out there, has Dylan's card, and is waiting to use that card when maybe the dust settles, possibly. They're planning stuff in between. It's a complete different direction there, but it does make you think if someone's in possession of Dylan's card, they've not used Dylan's card yet because it would incriminate them or it would make them look obvious and guilty and stuff like that. Maybe if you leave it too long, then possibility it could be attempted. But then again, will the account be closed, the bank account of Dylan's, if there's no activity going on? Do they get frozen? I'm not too sure. Makes you think, doesn't it? Anyway, let's move on. What's this one? Different interview with Dylan's mom. Not really anything new, but she did talk about D. Who's D? Dylan. Oh, Don Hately. I hate it when people do this weird abbreviation. And have been out there helping on the farm and searching since he disappeared, but that's turned out to be a bit of a lie. Right, okay. Exactly. It goes both ways. I'm not accusing anyone who knows, but for an older person considered a long-time friend to be fired by a 19-year-old kid, relative might not sit well, and if the income is needed and the job valued, it could be a pretty big deal. Now with Don Hately, from what Candice Cooley said, was it what Candice Cooley said? I'm just trying to think. No, Candice Cooley didn't actually know this information. Where did it come from? Right, okay. So from my memory, okay, it was actually from Tyler Feller. Okay, we're bringing his name back up. It was Tyler Feller where I got the information from regarding Don Hately supposedly having a trucking company in the past in East Idaho. That's the same information from... why am I having a brain freeze? Well, not brain freeze, I'm not having anything cold, my brain's malfunctioning right now. Tyler Feller also said that Don Hately had a small criminal history. Nothing serious, but, he's done some bad things. So, leave your thoughts down below. Leave your thoughts. Though Candice Cooley was the one that said Don Hately was squatting out there, just like Brenner. Right? But I know recently the odd comment or two was saying, no, Don Hately wasn't squatting out there. So what? He was living out there. He owned the land then. Is Candice Cooley lying again, or is it just viewers confused? Let me know your thoughts down below. And as well, we're still in the process of trying to look for Don Hately's trailer on maps, the exact location, whether the maps are outdated or not, just to try and pinpoint the location, to check the distance and all of that. That's still work in progress because no one has come out with coordinates of Don Hately's place. Actually, I think one person did give coordinates, but it was more to do with near Lucin Airport, and it was abandoned buildings or something, which looked nothing like Don Hately's place of living, where Lance drove past. And as you know, I tried mapping it out, comparing and contrasting, getting the angles with the mountains in the background, but still supposedly haven't found Don Hately's place. His trailer is just laying there. It's still there. It's not been moved, but he's gone, supposedly. So it's just coordinates. That's all that's needed of Don's trailer. So then other theories and videos can be made and map analysis. But at the moment, they can't be done because no coordinates. So we'll see what happens. What's this? And it was mentioned in the case just as the barefoot guy was mentioned, but then maybe it was understood. Blew over, no big deal. The firing. It was this man the grandma asked to check on Dylan, wasn't it? The fired friend, I mean. That must mean that things were somewhat okay, and it must also mean he lived the closest.
Well, yeah, because Don's living on the land nearby. Barefoot guy, Chase Venstra, just clear that up. Person fired, Don Haley, and that was 6 weeks before Dylan went missing. Candice Cooley said if Dylan was not doing custom farming and was able to see the crops develop, and then would have patched things up with Don and it would have been all fine. Do you think so, though? Do you think it would have been fine? Let me know. Oh, not again. What's this? Oh, here we go. Linda said, allegedly, his phone, wallet and pistol and truck key fob are missing. He doesn't sound suicidal, but the gun is his. So did he walk off with it and leave his truck and property, or what? I wonder he carried one on his person. I can't stand this language. Keep it in his truck or camp trail. Well, Candy said he would have it in his truck just about most of the time, though it was returned to the trailer, which was a bit odd, by another person. If he had one on him, he could defend himself against another person, and if someone else got in the trailer, let's say our truck, and took the gun, then it's likely someone who knew him and know of his possessions, maybe. I don't see a good outcome to this. He has been missing for a long time already. Okay. So a brief talk about suicide. It seems highly unlikely, although it was the opposite with Kenny Veach case. I was still thinking, no, it can't be suicide there either because of Kenny's passion for hiking. Okay, you might be present in the area for a certain reason, and then something bad might happen, but it doesn't mean to say that you went there to do something bad. You just went there because you like doing it. Dylan likes farming, hence why he was doing farm work around about the time he went missing. Kenny went missing whilst being very determined and passionate about hiking and finding the supposed M cave, And by taking certain items with you, like the camera, backpack, stuff like that, doesn't sound like of a suicidal person, right? Anyway, what's this? I'm wondering how Dylan is associated with the property where he stored his grain truck, and I'm also curious as to whether that dirt pile was there prior to him missing. Yes, the dirt mound, was described in the past as a burning pit and then turned into a dirt mound, covered over. As for the property, grain shed, Dylan did not own it, somebody else did, but Candice Cooley and Justin Rounds have not given the names of the people that own that stuff because they say it's not relevant. Okay, so this person replies back saying his grandpa owns the property. I think Dylan had bought or was buying part of it from him. Good question about the dirt pile. Okay. Yeah, I have heard about the grandpa owning something and then, giving Dylan like a little head start, a start in life for Dylan to make something of himself and the farm, right? Because in addition, if the prices are expensive elsewhere, I guess what I will say is I know Cleo has mentioned a good point as well. What about the grandparents? Have they been as vocal or have they been quiet? I've not really heard or seen much of them, really. Really nowhere. I've not really heard or seen them. I don't even know what they look like. So that's interesting. But, okay then, if the grandpa does own the property, whether it be grain shed, probably not. Mainly the farm where Dylan was situated, which is 5 miles east of the grain shed. If the grandpa owned it, was the grandpa not aware then? Okay. Although we can slant it towards Candice Cooley. Was Candice Cooley aware or not? We should be shifting it more towards the grandpa who supposedly owned this place. If he owned it, then surely he would have scouted out the area before buying it just to make sure things are okay and fine, surely. Dylan may have had the final say, yes, I'm ready to buy it, or yes, I'm ready to move on over. But don't you think that the grandpa should know what Lucin is like, whether it's safe or not, dangerous, if he owns some of the land? Yeah, interesting. What's this? Yeah, what's up with that dirt pile? It's my understanding that the grandfather owned 640 acres and that Dylan had purchased at least part of it to farm. But the property where the grain truck was and his boots found is about 5 miles away,
So it seems kind of strange to me that it's part of the 640 acres. Yeah, that's kind of like what I was saying. So is this new news to you? Have you heard this before? Did you know that the grandfather supposedly owned 640 acres and Dylan purchased part of it to farm? I mean, there's a lot of property lines, supposedly speaking. Candice Cooley has said, there's a range of people that own land out there in Lucin, but they don't ever visit or go over there. And they just purchase it for other reasons in general. So, worth taking in mind, 640 acres. I mean, I'm not great with all those numbers. Is that a lot? Is 640 acres a lot of, land to own? What's this? He boots off a young man missing for nearly 2 weeks, have been found behind a dirt pile. Oh God, what's this? From where his grain truck and parts boots were about 100 yards south. Well, someone said 200 at one point. I'm leaning towards someone thinking that he had cash on him all the time, whether he did or not. Well, Candice Cooley said he only withdraw $140 once a month, and the check he received of $32,000 or $33,000 from custom farming before Dylan went missing, that was put into his bank. So he didn't have really much money on him. That's pretty much where I am too, or something similar. Physical they wanted. Ooh, a little bit dodgy. Since the locked gate hadn't raised a red flag, I'm curious to know the usual goings on at the property where his grain truck was found. I think the locked gate raised a red flag to the family, so did the locked truck. I mean, okay, locked truck, yeah, but locked gate, that seems to be not of a red flag anymore. It's more of a focal point to take in mind that could be a factor to what led to Dylan disappearing, or the beginning of it all, an argument or something like that. Okay, what does this one say? I'm wondering about a few things, about a few such things as well. Oh God, I can't stand this wording. My God, I feel I can't even say the word. That's good. So I feel Right. Okay, maybe I am. I wonder why the camper trailer or what Dylan lived in is not, for instance, parts near the shed outbuildings, etc. And whether there is our power, water to all. One would think the easiest hookup for power, etc., would be next to the other buildings. And the dirt piling yesterday mentioned he would have walked like 5 miles home if he took his truck to get the grain seed in storage or something on that order. 640 acres would cover a lot of area, but is this part of their particular farm? Many farmers also rent additional land, and since it sounds like Dylan is just now getting the soil area up to speed to produce crops, it makes me wonder as well how long the farm has been in the family, or wherever the crops were prior. We need to go on maps as well, surely, because I just want to bring up a question as well. I heard the mum say that he has been farming there since he was 16, so that led me to believe that the grandpa has been successfully farming the land for a while, but who knows? 17, 18, 19, that's like 3 seasons, farming seasons, so it does tie in with what I mentioned earlier. But it can't be successful before that, because, okay, yeah, grandpa may have owned some of the land, quite a bit of it, but let me say farming occurred way back then. I mean, you look back at the history of the place way back in the past, before it became desolate and a ghost town. Yeah, there was like a community there, railroad community, bit of farming going on, but then with time, people moved out, buildings were taken away, and then it just became empty. The ground, the quality, it was a bit messy. High salt levels within the area, not exactly practical for farming, but Dylan managed to overcome that slowly but surely. So no, the grandpa couldn't have been, doing it before that, unless it was way back in the past. I should have read ahead. There was somewhere about 5 mile walk, and if I recall it, it's one of his family members saying he must have planned on walking home. I think I relate it to the truck, to the place to put it under cover or the grain. Yeah, one way. If Dylan's got his truck parked at his farm, he's got to wake up in the morning, take the grain truck,
which would have been at the farm because the night before he was seeding and he needs to seed, he needs a grain truck, so that's why it's present. So Saturday morning, take the grain truck down to the grain shed to obviously park it, but then what vehicle do you have to get back? Because his actual truck is back at his place of loan. You can't take two trucks at once unless you drove one and towed the other, so then you could have a vehicle to drive all the way back. But I don't think Dylan was that desperate to do something like that. You get what I'm saying? That's what the confusion was in the past, for me at least. Like, okay, you got here, you got there, but how did he get back? Okay, this person, Regina, says, I meant before that sat through Monday, before the parents were aware that he couldn't have been located. I think the grandfather had the land since Dylan was a toddler, as I understand it. He had worked that land for the prior 2.5 years that he spent summers there, and he had a successful crop the prior season. As for him walking back home from the grain truck property, yes, he would have had to walk it, but he wouldn't have gone through the gate, so that's another red flag circumstance. I mean, not only did he never lock the gate, but he also wouldn't have left out that way to get back home. Wait. No, but Candy's clearly said he would just cross the land, he wouldn't go through the gate any time in the past, even if it was unlocked. So, go the quickest way possible, right? It's a bit unclear. My understandings now, which is different than I thought before, was that Dylan wanted to purchase this land, but Grandpa's name is also on the property, probably because he got it when he was 16. I'm not sure if the land was originally Grandpa's or if they purchased it together when Dylan was 16. I thought I heard it being purchased together when 16, And what's this one say? But who would be around to notice, other than Don Haley, who was fired by Dylan and called by Grandma to check? When Don Haley checked for Dylan with Jim Brenner, they apparently told Grandma that the truck was there and locked, but Dylan wasn't around, so either the locked gate and truck isn't actually that big of a deal, abnormal, or they're just deflecting away from it. Well, from the way it's been worded, Don Haley and Jim never went out there, and they lied. There was no prints, there was no tracks, there was nothing. And, if they are suspicious, if they are suspects, you thought they would have made an attempt to look for Dylan just to make it seem like that they care so they don't seem as suspicious. But to not, and to lie, and to be caught out, it's a mistake by them. It makes them look even more suspicious. So, yeah, I think we should just quickly go on to Google Earth now. Just briefly hover about within the area, because I've just got the odd important question to ask, okay? Let's head on over now. Here we are. So, the question I just want to put forwards. So, bear in mind, this map imagery, for most part of it, at least on here, it is 2019. Does that timeline with Dylan still being present here? Well, it said Dylan was 16 when started getting involved with the farm, this area. How old would he have been? I'm like 2022. And up to a certain point, Dylan was 19, obviously, when he disappeared, and a bit after that. So 2021, Dylan would have been 18. 2020, Dylan would have been 17. 2019, Dylan would have been 16. So really, we need to know what month, really. I don't know if it provides the month on Google imagery. Actually, I'm just trying to think, did 2020 show it either? I don't think it did. That's interesting, that. I know it might be all down to timing, but I'm sure from my memory, when you look here, this is where Dylan lived, right? Not lived. This is Dylan's farm. This is where he wouldn't live because he moved about. He just used it mainly for farming, right? And he might sleep overnight or two, but he didn't live there all the time, right? It makes sense. But why is his trailer not present here? Well, if this is 2019 and Dylan was about 16, around 16 at that time, and only just bought the land, then maybe he didn't move in immediately. Or maybe this was just taken a few months before Dylan bought the land. You know what I'm saying? That would excuse that for why the trailer's not there. But I'm sure in 2020, because there was 2020 imagery I did look at on Google Earth Pro, and okay, I did a before and after as well. You saw a few different puddles and changes to the ground, but still there was no trailer in 2020. And that would have been more than enough for Dylan to be present. So if the trailer wasn't here, where is it? And those trailers on Dylan's land, Okay, if Dylan moved about doing custom farming, or he went to Candice Cooley or Justin Brown's house to visit, can any of you tell me in the live chat right now, did Dylan take his trailers with him or not? He would have taken his burgundy Ford F-150 pickup truck to actually leave the place, leave the farm, get about, and then go off to visit family or go down to Montello Bar to meet up with friends. You know, that makes sense. But would he take his trailer with him if he was staying at in a different town, different city? If he's going down to Justin's for the weekend or for a month, I don't know how long breaks he had, but if that's what Dylan was doing, would Dylan have taken his truck, but also hooked on, latched the trailer onto the back end of the truck and then drove off? Would he? Or would he have left the trailers behind? Because you look at someone like Chase Venstra, okay, and his homestead somewhere in Montello when Salty Pancakes went there. By that time, Chase Venstra was elsewhere. I think he was arrested at the time, right? So he wouldn't have been present. But his trailers were still left there abandoned, like it was an old place where he stayed at, and after that he moved on. So he didn't take the trailers with him either. You look at Jim Brenner, I mean, it doesn't quite apply because that was literally burnt down. But Jim Brenner moved on, left the trailer behind because that was burnt down. Do you see the pattern? So, do people leave their trailers behind if they were visiting elsewhere? Kind of similar as if you was going on holiday, you don't take your house with you on holiday. You don't, do you? So does that apply the same with trailers, or do you take them about? Because, you know, some of them, RVs, that are portable, they can be moved about. But then again, do you need to take it with you if you're visiting someone that has accommodation for you to go to and are welcome to stay inside? Right, you don't need your trailer then. So I'm just trying to word it as best as I can. What I'm ultimately saying is, in 2020, Dylan would have been doing his farming by then, here. But there's no indication of his trailer. Both 2019 and 2020 imagery confirm that. No trailer in sight on his farm land, nor a truck. So where is it? Were these satellite images taken when Dylan wasn't there? He was doing custom farming elsewhere, and then would that explain to why Dylan's trailer isn't there either? Because he took it with him? That's what I'm trying to get down to, because it's not really been talked about. But what we've got to understand, Dylan had 2 trailers. So how would he have moved both? Did he take both trailers with him to do custom farming? That seems a bit messy going back and forth. We just zoom out briefly. Look back to the grain shed. Was that? Okay. So there are slightly less vehicles within the area. Some stuff never really moved, such as that boat. We saw that in that recent news report, right? And some of these farming equipment like that one there, we saw that in Salty Pancakes footage. But then when we look at this trailer here, the RV, whose RV trailer is that, right? Some people might be thinking, does it really matter? Well, it's worth mentioning, because if we zoom on out, this is 2019 imagery, right? Hopefully I can find it on the spot. This photo, everything what I just shared with you just then, would have been at a time when Brenner was still in Montello. And you might be thinking, well, why is that? Well, when we zoom in here on Montello, Brenner's trailer is intact. It's perfectly fine. It's not burnt down. It's not damaged. So at this time, Brenner is here in Montello. Dylan was working on the farm before coming across Brenner. Dylan came across Don Hately first. Then Don Hately eventually encouraged Brenner to come on over to Lucin and then introduced Brenner to Dylan to then start working for him temporarily. That's like the order.
So if Brenner's here, this is like frozen in time satellite imagery of what happened on the time. Brenner's here, 2019. Brenner's vehicle is right here. And the reason why it's in this ditch is from what Ty Corbin said, because of the gradient is quite steep and Brenner's vehicle wouldn't be able to get all the way up. It would struggle, so it would just park in that ditch. So that's what Ty confirmed, so that's good of him. And it's interesting how I was one of the first ones on YouTube. I was probably one of the first people on YouTube to highlight Jim Brenner's vehicle caught on camera in 2019 map imagery. You know, that's interesting, that. So, yeah. So it kind of captures where everyone's at, or where quite a few people are at. Now, I guess the next thing that would be worth doing next time, do any of you have the coordinates for Kurt Wadsworth's place of living? Does he live inside of the bar, or does he have his own trailer within the neighbourhood, town, or further afar? Let me know. It would be interesting just to do like a distance check. As I said, if any of you have the coordinates of Kurt Wadsworth's place of living, feel free to drop the coordinates down below in the comment section. It would be appreciated. Okay? Thank you. So, also, just kind of on the spot, because I didn't do it at the start of this video. I should have done it at the start. Shout out to Cleo as well. Once again, not only just for being consistent with, you know, a great personality, but also their presence in the last live chat. Okay? Really good of them. Maria, you know, Maria's like, oh, why are you so naughty? Please don't get naughty with me. No. And then suddenly it's like, yeah, come on. It's like, whoa, what's this? It's like Little Red Riding Hood. Yeah, I'm going to taste some of your cookies, Little Red Riding Hood. I want some cookies. Give me some cookies right now. No, actually, no. I don't want him. Stop shoving him in my face. No. Put him back in your basket. My God, Maria, make your mind up. You know, those cookies are going to go cold. They're going to go soggy. You don't want soggy cookies. Maybe the little chunky bunny would like to bite on them. Nibble. It's either nibble for Maria, or it's scratchy for Cleo, or for Indiana, it's tickle, Mr. Tickles. Wait, was Mr. Tickles a character in something? I don't know. Indiana, have you got your feather duster? No? Where is it? It's in my hand. That's unfortunate for you. Tickle. Turn into fucking, turn into some, daycare thing. My God. But yeah. All I ask right now, if you're in the live chat, or afterwards if you're watching late, this is obviously the grain shed. Dylan does not own it, but he has used it. Brenner was present here later on, you know, post thing being burnt down. So, with that in mind, whose trailer is that in between? Right? This is 2019. Dylan is supposedly around about 16 or so, whether he's moved in or not yet. Who else was living there? In other words, or more simpler terms, before Dylan bought the land, supposedly at 16 years of age, who else was living or squatting within the area? Who? Whose trailer does this belong to? Can't be Dylan, right? Because Dylan had his trailer on his own land when he bought it, east, 5 miles away. So who else is squatting here then? Is it the grandparents? Is it a friend of the grandparents? It's just not really been talked about much. Like, whose trailer is that? It's 2019 imagery. Brenner's trailer hasn't been burnt down, as you saw before, so Brenner should be still in Montello at that time. So whose is this? Is it Don Haley's? I don't think so. No, it wouldn't tie in. Because it can't be Don Haley's.
Because the whole point of Don Haley kind of like being introduced to the family and, you know, consistently working was like when Justin said in 2020 winter, when Don and Dylan were working, doing some farm work, and then Don got injured as something ran over him, I think a tractor or some vehicle. And then he had to recover for some time, but Dylan and Larry, Round's grandparent, like looked after him, looked out for him, and, you know, developed a bond, a friendship from there. So that's 2020. Interesting. Does make you think. Is there anything else to look at before we just go? Is there any like little dots, markers I've not looked at? Because for most part of it, they are quite far away, as you can see. And the further away they are, the less relevant they are. But, you know, you could come across some interesting things along the way. We'll just take a brief look at this spot here, because we've already come across some interesting artifacts, sculptures, buildings. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Oh, it's this guy again. Right. The reason why this is kind of interesting is because, okay, he's camping, but what's this, like, mini, do you call it a crater? It's kind of like a crater. You see the radius of it. Has this been is this natural, or has it been caused because of digging? Because you look there is like a few dirt mounds, isn't there, with rocks. So was there some kind of farm work, excavation going on within this area at a point in time? Makes you think. A couple of loose rocks on the ground, as you can see. What's that there? Probably more. Got the bike there, as you can see, fully equipped with the boxes on. And then you got a tent down there, just a very small one. And then where you'd have a fire, kind of far away, and with the land being very dry, I mean, you've got to be careful. You don't want to set fire to everything. You'd be in a ring of fire. That would be a dangerous thing. So I wonder why this like little, I don't even know what you'd call it, like crater is going on. Has it been dug out? Looks like it's been unearthed, right? Looks like the ground's been disturbed a while ago. So if you know, let me know. Now, was there another one nearby? We looked at that one. Is it this one here? I think it is. Let's take a look. What's this one all about? Same person. Looks very dry. Damn, look at the sunset over there. It's very bright. I see the light. Just like a vantage point, really. What's on the ground there? What's that red stuff? Wait. Are they shotgun shells? Oh my god. They look like bullet casings. Can you see the red stuff? Well, there's another one there. That was like a shotgun shell. This must be to do with hunting season, I assume. And what's that there? Bit of wood. Look, even behind the individual, there's more brass casings in the background. And then some like rubbish there. I mean, aside from Chase Venstra's homestead and the footage of that place, this is the only other place I've seen actual shells. Look at them. They're definitely shotgun shells from the looks of it, with the red band around it. Do any of you know about this? Can you see? Even that one there. Interesting. So, did it just stand on this rock and then shoot from down the range to take out an animal or something? It looks like there's a lot of rubbish though in this area. Like, it looks like track marks as well. They do look like track marks, don't they? Oh.
That's interesting, that. All that stuff down there. Let me know your thoughts of this place. Do you think it's any interest or not? Make sure I've not missed anything at all. Okay. Any other final locations to take a look at? I know you got some dodgy sculptures elsewhere. Did we do the one down here? Oh no, I don't think we did. Blue Lake. Okay. Let's check this one out. What's this all about? This is further away. The Blue Lake. Oh wow. Oh wow. Wait, what's going on here? Huh. I wonder what is going on here. Why is there all these divers out there? It's either just like a club, a diving club, having fun, or is this a search and rescue in the process? You got all these guys gathered, the oxygen tank. There's a lot of different divers. More people over there, and all those vehicles parked up. You got these divers down there. Looks like they might have a camera or a light with them. And then you got some more divers in the water. So are they trying to look for someone that's gone missing within the area? Or is it just a club? I'm not too sure. It's hard to tell. I mean, are they smiling? Do they look serious? I mean, they kind of look serious, right? Huh. Do any of you know about this? Have you ever heard of an event or in the news in Utah of this place, the Blue Lake? Has anyone gone missing or been found dead in the Blue Lake, Utah? Let me know down below if there's any news articles or reports. There's like another person over there as well. Okay, interesting. Look, there you go. Blue Lakes. Oh, it's called Scuba Dock. I didn't look at that. What a fucking idiot I am. Right, fuck that. That's an idiot. God, Raph. You fucking idiot. Damn, that's a lot more colourful now. Look at that. Okay, let's move away from this place. What's down here? See what this looks like. And we'll wrap it up in a second, don't we? There you go. More very clean looking water from the looks of it. Yeah. Looks good. You can see it's shallow. And it's like the ponds you would get in Lucin shallow too, so you couldn't really hide anything. Though, if the water's not as clear compared to this, it's more murky, you might be able to conceal something, but like a phone, but not a person if it's shallow. Is there any more dodgy stuff we can take a look at, or like how far do you want to zoom out? That's the thing. I want to try and keep it in. Great Salt Lake. No, I think we saw that one, didn't we? Alamo. It's kind of limited. What about all these like little dots here? My God, what are all these dots? They're mutating, man. Let's see what this is all about. Okay. Look at that. Pancakes. If you ever run out pancakes, just come here. Come here, you've got an endless supply. Okay? Salty, very salty. Look at that. God. So really, that's oh, was that? Okay, look. There's been a lot of people visiting there, isn't there? And vehicles too.
It looks weird when you look at it from here, the colouring of it. Got some graffiti. Wait, it's a load in. So there's actually water this time. Because from the looks of it, other times it dries up, if I'm correct in saying. But that looks pretty full and wet all around. In comparison to some of these photos where people have like walked really far onto the land. But you know, with the weather, when it's really dry summer, it's to be expected, right? My God, look at that. Look at that. And there's some people taking a photo over there. You look at all the salt that's collected. Damn. Is there any like quicksand on here? Do you have to worry about that or not? Because it's Thanksgiving, I probably should just do a quick Burger King's, right? Get me on, man. We're not even messing around no more. Wendover, if that's the case, bring it on. Yeah. What's this? We got the Cheetos. Ooh, that looks a bit weird. Looks like a worm. Let's get on in. We don't want your default photos. We want just trash pictures and poor photography, man. Rainbow Casino. Wow. Cleo. Come to the Rainbow Casino. Look how colourful it is. Very sparkly. And look, Maria, look, there's even like the shade of purple. So, you know, it includes you as well. Don't worry. There we go. We're back at the place. Made with 100% white meat.
Oh my God! White meat? What about all the different colors, man? That's really rude. What about the dark meat? Forget about that. Juicy, tender, seasoned, no artificial colors. I'll forgive you. Don't worry, man. Great value, 100% beef. Well, I hope it is. What else would it be? You don't really want to know. A truck there. Oh, yeah, look at this person trying to do some high-end photography. Didn't quite work, but they've got the placement of the stuff reasonable. It's just the backdrop and the colouring and the lighting, okay? Fries look reasonable. The burger is a bit of a mouthful, but reasonable. Looks a little bit messy, but yeah, okay. It's not too bad. And, you know, shout out to this person, fallen soldier in the field. Don't worry, man. We got your back. Just like how you've got your food, because you look after your food. You make sure it's safe. You make sure it's healthy. You make sure it's happy. And that's all that matters in life, man. No chunks bitten out. No nibbling. No fiddling. Just simply taking a photo out of respect. You deserve a medal, man. Medal of Honor. What's this? Hours. It's open all the time, man. Don't even try and question it. Open 24 hours. Why the fuck do we need a fucking calendar? You're working there 24/7. You're not leaving the building, man. You're gonna live there. You're gonna eat. You're gonna sleep. You're gonna drink. Yeah. What's this person done? Yeah. I'm gonna have some curly fries on the side. Exposed. That's really good. It's going to pick up all the germs and juices and all the dirty little stuff where all the little dirty humans have been touching and spitting on. It's really good. Health hazard. Really want to get all the kinds of viruses going on there. A medium. Couldn't take extra large. Fair enough. This one. Oh my God, they give out signatures as well. Maybe next time when you walk into Burger King's, my signature might be on your burger paper. Ooh. Let's move on. Nighttime photo. Fucking Night Stalker, man. Ricardo Ramirez. Hola, ¿dónde está Ricardo Ramirez? Stalking the night. Yeah, come on. Fairly uniformed photo, but no, you shouldn't have the fries overflowing, man. Once they touch the tray, they're contaminated. Got some zesty. Zesty, just like my voice. Okay. Wait, what's that? Is that supposed to be a fucking Nike or Nike trademark thing with a tick, but as a chip? What the hell? Actually, what were they having? Fucking hell, mate. Right on with the Whopper and the cheese. Could have done a little bit better. Could have been a bit bigger. Don't worry. Whopper will do. And we got a pretty little sunset. It's so colourful. It just makes me want to sit around a campfire with Tyler Feller, read from the Bible, drink some milk a goat, and sing Kumbaya, Bring Me Home, Lord. Wow. Got some cheese. Very wet. Makes very questionable sounds when you mix it around. It's very squishy. I hate that sound. It's not exactly nice to hear. And as well, if you hear that sound and you close your eyes, you probably get very confused quickly.
I think you're looking at the wrong way. What are you doing over there, man? You should be ordering from the front.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you, Burger Kings, for giving me the opportunity to represent you and, highlight and shone you in a positive way to really encourage the traffic and flow of people to get the trend going so they all come to you. That's all because of me, man. Oh my God! Where's the meat? There isn't any. Where is it? What? There's a little bit there. Where's everything else? That is the worst burger I've seen. A little bit of cheese, no sauce, no burger, no meat, hardly. What the hell is that? That's more psychotic than someone like... Who? Well, where's Paul Allen? Huh? Paul Allen. I've been looking for him all day. Yeah, I've been working all day on that card. Paul, you're going to be fired. You stop messing me around. I'm not in the mood to be messing around. Yeah, you got that. But this burger is worse than I have ever seen. That card of yours, Cleo. I want to see your card. Oh, wow, that's good. Amazing, nice. What about you? Huh? Yeah, you, famous op. And what about you, Maria? Yeah, Marie, I'm talking to you. Pretty good. Purple card. Gold encrusted. Nice. I'll take that. But this picture is more psychotic than my behavior. And that's saying a lot. My God. You see that other guy in the toilet I was trying to strangle? He tried to kiss my hand. I'm not gay. I'm never gay. Who would ever think that? I'm Patrick Bateman. Nice to meet you. Would you like to step into my office? Office right now. Yeah, you do that. You may not come out, but I'm sure you'll have a very good time. Just like this Rainbow Casino. Very nice. What's this person doing? AC Lock and Key. Oh God, is that the guy on YouTube? The Lock and Key lawyer. Well, howdy there, mister. God damn, you're a big ass cowboy. Right on, man. Right on into the night. God damn, golly. What we got down here, speed limit. Red Garter Hotel and Casino. I ain't seen that before. Oh my God. Burger King, McDonald's, and the motherfucking dry desert out there and all the salt you could wish for. Oh no, was this person taking a photo of the woman in the background? Uh-oh, dodgy. You've been exposed. Oh my God, it's Steven. No, Steven, not you. I didn't think it was you, Steven, the turkey handler. Oh my God. Oh, sorry. False identity. Sorry, it was the turkey giving me dodgy looks. It's all right, Steven. You're safe. Don't worry. This was another Steven abomination. My God, get off. Had enough of this. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so once again, a hybrid video. Appreciate it if you managed to watch most of this live as well, because I know people are busy on this day. And if not, doesn't matter. This video is still around to watch a later day, so you can always catch up on it. And, once some of the events disperse, then we can focus in on continuing the Dylan Rounds case, covering some key videos, and maybe some of the bits and bobs in between, right? And yeah, we'll see what goes from there. We'll see as well before Christmas actually does come around, December, if there's any more updates. Now, Indiana was saying she had the sense, the feeling that they were going to find Dylan sometime in November with the searches going on. So it makes you think, well, what about December? Will anything happen there, or will it really quieten down? Because it is quiet most of the time when it comes to the Dylan Rounds case, at least within the last month or two. Maybe if you had some of the more bigger YouTube channels returning back, covering it, if they somehow managed to, then it might be able to indirectly push and force things ahead. But in the meantime, you just try and carry on being consistent. Lance, Ty doing their own things still, searching, I guess. I've not really been on their channel as much recently, so I've not looked. I know Alan from Mountain Labs Fortress or something, who's within the Heavy D crew, who's also been searching for Dylan, uploaded his video recently, looking. The relevancy of that, I'm sure that's to do with 4 weeks ago when Scott Natal tried meeting up with both Les Natal and Alan, and supposedly Lance back then, but things didn't quite work out due to the weather, being cut off with the snow and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know if people do, but it would be good if with these searches, if they gave the date underneath. Scott Natal does it, or at least did it in the past with Kenny Veach. You'd give the year and the date, the month. Really useful when referring back, right? So you know when it was done, when the photo was taken, the footage, the sighting of whatever. If more people can do that, that would definitely be helpful within the Dylan Rounds case when searching. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you have any other questions or random thoughts, share them down below and I'll take a look at them. That's it for now. I hope you have a good day, or whenever you get round to eating the food for Thanksgiving. And yeah, I'll see you next time, whenever that is. Thanks for watching, good night and goodbye for now.